Join our incredible moms who have mastered the art of balancing motherhood in today's episode of We Time Convo.
My name is Debbie.
This is Liza.
Moms sharing inspiring stories, practical tips, and a few hilarious anecdotes. And it all begins now.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to We Time Convo. I apologize in advance for my voice. I have a life-threatening disease called allergies. So I've been battling it the past 2 weeks.
Me too.
It's not life-threatening, but I felt like I've been dying. So if I'm coughing or I sound different, blame it on the allergies. So today's topic is chivalry. Is it alive? Is it dying or is it dead? We're going to kind of get chivalry, I guess, in different perspectives. So like right now we have kind of like the younger crowd today, and I have two very special guests, and I am going to start with you, Isaiah. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Isaiah. I am Irene's son and I go to college.
And how old are you? Like as in college?
I'm 19.
19.
Yeah, I'm 19.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we have another special guest.
Hi, I'm Clayton. I'm 17 and I'm a senior in high school.
Hi, Clayton. Thank you for joining us. And I know Isaiah asked you if you'd like to join our podcast, so we're very happy that you're here. How do you guys know each other? Just out of curiosity.
I think Clayton and I went to the same middle school and high school. And elementary school or no?
I think just middle school.
Middle school and high school. And for a while, I actually didn't know you until high school.
I didn't know you until like jam club started.
So I founded a club for like musicians in high school so that we could just like jam. It was called Jam Club, and Clayton joined. And then, that's how we met.
Oh, very cool. And the reason why I asked is because there's an age difference between you two, about 2 years.
Yeah.
So how did you guys just continue to stay in touch?
Yeah, we're in like a band together. It's called Cass and the Hairs. And we also have a wonderful singer and bassist named Janine, but she's like all the way in Santa Cruz right now.
Nice.
Very
Are you guys
cool.
performing anytime soon or in the Bay?
Not sure. Well, maybe in the summer. Oh yeah, maybe in the summer. But that's probably it. But we just do open mics and stuff like during Christmas. And
You got to shamelessly plug this. 'Cause, so
For sure.
You guys get on.
Yeah.
And I'd love to watch you guys. I didn't even know this. So awesome. What do you guys play?
I don't know.
What's the
It's
genre?
Really random. Yeah.
It's just like the
indie.
randomest stuff you can put in and you just play.
A lot of Filipino music.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff.
Very
I'd love to see
cool.
you guys
Very cool. And is this like original stuff, or are you guys kind of,
cover.
Yep.
We've been working on a lot of originals. Well, not a lot of originals, but like a lot more than like we did when we started off. But now we're more of like covers, and since like Janine's not here, we don't really have time to like produce anything new. But yeah.
And what's
Got
the
it.
band called again?
Cass and the Hairs.
Cass and the Hairs.
It comes from Janine's middle name. It's just Cassandra.
Well, check it out, guys.
Cass and the Hairs.
All right.
It
Yes.
also came from your sister too, because she thought she dreamt of this name Red in the Hairs.
That's the thing. My sister dreamt of the name Red and the Hairs, and then we modified it.
Very
to Cass
cool.
and Hairs.
Story.
I know. Yes. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, well, chivalry. So I pulled up some info about where the word came from and what it actually means. And this comes from, I think, Merriam-Webster.com. I am going to let Debbie take over because my voice is not it right now. So go ahead.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So the word chivalry first refers to medieval knights, as in the king was accompanied by his chivalry. To be a great knight, you have consideration of civilians for women. The greatest knights are inspired by the love of some lady and want to impress her and win her love by doing great deeds. That's the, I guess, original
origin.
Exactly. So today, chivalry typically refers to an honorable and polite way of behaving, especially by men toward women. And when people say chivalry is dead, they're usually bemoaning either a perceived lack of good manners amongst those they encounter generally. So I would say spot on today. chivalry does obviously imply kind of like that medieval, but when you think about how we apply it today, I definitely, for me, that's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Really?
How do you guys feel about that? I mean, like, Liza, you tell me, is that pretty spot on for you?
It's pretty spot on. But like you said, we were talking about this earlier. It can mean so many things. It's
Yes.
different for everybody. Like for one person, it could be just opening doors for somebody, opening the car door. For me, it's a little broader, right? Because I've been in the dating game for so long. So I keep adding to that list.
Now, no, it's great because I think also me and you are, well, I'm a little older, but I think in regards to kind of our age group, this definition probably makes sense for us. Now, I turn and look to these two, and does that kind of apply like in your understanding of what chivalry is?
Yeah, it does. I think so.
So what does it
That's
mean
good.
to you, Isaiah?
Chivalry to me is like a standard of how, mostly a man should, treat women, with respect and trying to make them always feel supported and cared for.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay. So out there. Well, first of all, I should ask you, Clayton. Do you feel the same way? What is chivalry to you?
I feel like, yes, it's somewhat the same as like what the definition was put up, but I feel like since now, like, like new generations, I was like more woke and there's like more things like girl boss in the, in the world. You can also be like chivalrous with other people, not just like specifically towards women,
True.
You can try and be like with other men, other people. Women can also be chivalrous too. It's like,
That's
interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would a woman do for you or that you see that would make it like chivalrous
Chivalry.
to you?
I feel like just the same things a man could do for a woman.
So
you know?
you would like a woman to open the car door for you?
Like princess treatment, a little bit of princess treatment.
Well, I was just thinking about this and applying it because, one way that I would probably see a woman could be chivalrous is if somebody was like talking about her man in a negative way, she would step in.
Have her man's back.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
me, I actually agree with you, Clayton. Like I didn't think about it that way.
I didn't either.
But yes,
Okay.
I think, in the act of her like defending her man's honor,
Yeah.
that is an act of
chivalrous,
chivalry. And so it doesn't necessarily apply for a man to do it to a woman, but it can also be the other way around.
And are you in a relationship?
No.
So let's start with Isaiah. So what are things that you do for your girlfriend?
that you would put under that umbrella of chivalry.
I try to be as chivalrous as possible, honestly. So, probably like just starting off the easy things like opening the door. I don't know, getting her flowers on like special occasions, and always thinking of like, like I don't know, like holidays. When's her birthday? When's her anniversary? I don't know, trying to get her gifts and stuff.
Because I can
think
tell
that
you
sounds-
that's like an initial.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum, right? Yeah.
Well, no. Even in part of a relationship, when you think about early relationship, like I have girlfriends who have said like, oh yeah, when we first used to date, he used to always open up my door. Like he'd come around, like before, like he would make that effort. But then eventually after a couple years, he never opens my door anymore.
It just dies.
Yes, somehow it just dies. So that's what I'm asking is, do you see that as a continuous thing, or you see that as, of course, I'm dating her right now, but at some point it doesn't even make sense that I have to go around. Like then it comes like to the logical make sense side where it's not as efficient. You know what I mean?
It's like you hit the door. Yeah.
Like we're going to the same place. The car now has a button that can like essentially unlock it for you. Do I really need to go on the other side of the door to open it up? Have you thought about like at some point I probably won't be doing that?
No, I've never thought about that. I try to always keep the same in the relationship. I don't know.
You go,
Because if you
boy.
stop, like, then
And
what
how
else
long
do
have
you?
you been in this relationship?
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, that's
He's
pretty
going strong.
lengthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Clayton? Or have you gone on dates?
I,
Or
I just like got out of a relationship like a while back.
okay.
It's just, I don't know if you were like kind of like this, but do you ever like try not to forget to do those things.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I could slip up. I'm like gonna walk out of my door. I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna like go to the other side and open the door. And there's like a lot of the micro things that I do that maybe she doesn't recognize, that like when you're like walking on like the sidewalk or this and that, you stay on the curb side. So there's like, you know, this and that.
I didn't know that.
You didn't?
I
Oh my God.
Who walks on which
Yes.
side? Okay, so what is this rule? Clayton, what is this?
It's basically, I don't know if it's actually gonna like do anything, but you walk on the curb side and have her stay on the inside.
So in case a car comes?
Yeah, a car
It's
comes,
like
you can
more of
like push them out of the way,
safety.
this and that.
It's like a safety thing, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to do like the micro things while trying to do like more of the macro things too. So it's just like,
What is a macro thing?
I'd say like when she has like PMS and this and that. So I would have to like cook and this and that. Like she'd like come over and hang out, and then I'd cook, and then I'd like once bought her like a heater that's like cat shaped.
Yeah.
So it's like, so she can like put it on her stomach when she has like cramps, this and that.
So here's my question, right? Because you guys are in a younger generation. How did you learn about chivalry? Where did it come from for you? Was that from
Watching your parents?
Yeah, seeing, experiencing.
Paul. Paul is Irene's husband.
Is it because you've experienced it, seeing it from obviously people that you interact with? Was it TV? Was it like, how did you know about this act of chivalry?
It had to be through, like, as cringe it is, like through social media for me.
Your
Yeah,
dad
honestly.
out there. Do you ever see your dad do this?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Like how? I want to know how. Right now I'm speaking for Irene. How?
Well, you know, there's those late night hours when no one else sees my dad, and I'm up. I go downstairs and he's doing the dishes, and he's he's doing all these chores. He takes care of the backyard.
So
and
you see that as act of chivalry.
I do, because you know my mom works hard, and my dad also works hard, and you know I think it takes a lot. He takes a lot of effort, and you know just doing things for my mom that she doesn't have to do anymore, right?
Yeah, so Irene. That's a good reminder. No, I think that is a good reminder, because I think sometimes us women take things for granted where we don't really see those like acts of chivalry, because you don't, like, for us it's always like open the door or just being thoughtful in certain ways that we have a certain expectation, but then because we don't see that, we sometimes lose sight of the other ways that
just the little things, right?
Exactly.
Like, you know, my ex, like he would, when the kids would wake up, he would quietly leave and take care of them so that I can get an extra hour of sleep. Things like that. Like I never really, you know, put too much thought into it, because I'm like, you better get me my $500 shirt or whatever. But Clayton, so how did you learn chivalry?
With my dad, he would like try and like teach us like from like a really young age, like those like mini acts of like chivalry where like you try to like open the door for grandma, or you try and do this and that when you can even barely reach the handle. And so he would do that stuff because when he first immigrated over here, I think like 1990 something, like late 90s to like early 2000s, he saw like Vietnamese immigrant children being like the worst possible. They were like over here in America and they weren't like behaving as well as like he thought they'd be. So he basically wanted his kids to be better than that. And so he would get my brother and I to do things for grandma, do things for mom. And at the time we were living with grandma, and we had like 2 families in the house. So it's like my aunt. And so we had to do stuff for my aunt, and then we had to do stuff for my mom, and then my grandma, and even my cousins who are like 5 years, 6 years older than us. And so we'd like learn from those like little things. And like my dad would like teach us to like always like open the door, always like do like the standard stuff basically, and like try and like support mama when she's working, this and that.
I like how you say the standard stuff, because it should be a standard for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, because opening doors, I think one of the things too is we get groceries. Our Costco haul tends to be like, oh my God, who wants to like bring all that stuff in?
Yeah.
But it is nice to get, you know, when you don't have to ask. I think that's another part of chivalry that like makes it so like genuine, is when it's not asked. It's just part of like what you would just normally do. So
Oh, Debbie, I'm going to put Peter on the spot here.
yes.
So when you first started dating,
Yes.
did he do all that? And you guys are married now. How long? For it's been over a year, right?
Yes.
And does he still do this stuff for you?
So yes and no. So I would say when we first dated, he definitely opened my door into the car. I think sometimes I actually have my tendency as well. Like when I get out of the car and we go into some building, I actually wait until he opens my door to open up for the building. So he does that, as well as, you know, he definitely makes it a point to carry things. He'll tell me, babe, just leave it. I'll carry it. But, you know, obviously, you know, we help each other out, but he definitely makes a point to show me that, you know, he is chivalrous. I'm lucky that way. Yes.
Yeah. So I actually this guy that I dated before, he was telling me that his brother recently was dating somebody, and she's very, very old school, very traditional. He would have to buy her flowers at every date
Oh, wow.
and
Every day.
pay for every single dinner every week. Do you guys feel like that's a little too? Oh, and a handwritten note with the flowers. Do you guys feel like that's a little too much, or do you feel like that's just the right amount of chivalry? I felt like it was too much.
I think that's a little bit too much. Maybe.
I think it's a little too tough. Like
Yeah.
she's being
I
a little
do
too hard
too.
on him.
I do too. Like I like it, but then I'm kind of, well, you know what, here, I also think it's very challenging because we do have this like where we are teaching women to be independent. And sometimes I think it goes the other direction where women's like, you don't need to open my door. Or like, I can open up my own door. Like,
I
you
can
don't
pay
need to
for
do
my
my
own
own food.
Yeah.
And so like, I do think that there's kind of that perspective that makes it kind of hard. To me, obviously, women should be self-sufficient, supportive, but I like chivalry.
I like flowers every date.
You do?
And like a 3-page letter.
Oh, God. No, but I mean, yeah, I think for everybody, chivalry is different levels, different degrees. So it's based on what you just said. It's really important to know what the other person expects.
So
from
my
the
other
chivalry.
question is paying for, like when you go on a date,
Yes.
picking up the tab. Is that, do you feel like it's something that you guys have to do as men? Do you believe in like paying half? Like, what's your take on it? I'll start with you, Clayton.
I think in general, I just like to like pay for my friends. Just like, you know, we're having a good time. We haven't seen each other for a while. So I'll just pay for this, you know, get the moment like going. And I feel like with dates, I don't feel obligated to pay, but I feel like I want to pay to just show them like, oh, like I do worthy you, like, you know, to like, you can just enjoy your meal, this and that. And I feel like even if it's like a first date, it was a bad date. Some people are like, oh, let's just split the check. No, it's just like, I'm glad that like, at least we got to like try and like connect, but like, I guess it's not working out and I'll just pay and we'll just like try and just, you know, keep it
So
there.
you're from the school of thought of like, I don't feel like I need to, but you want to.
Yeah.
How about you, Isaiah?
I'm in the same boat. I always pay for my girlfriend.
Like always?
Not always.
Okay.
Like she'll usually get other stuff, but I try to pay for as many meals as I can.
If she offers to pay, would you like stop her? Or
I'll stop her. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
stop her.
So Isaiah, do you work?
No, I don't work.
Okay, we won't go there.
I have a little bit of savings.
Just kidding. Well, I'll tell you my experience with Peter, my husband, is when we were dating, I purposely made a point not to pay for anything.
I remember
Really?
this. Yeah.
Which he didn't mind, but I think in his head he's like, look at this girl, she's not paying for nothing. But you know, for me, I think I was at an age where in my mind thinking like, you know, I'm older, there's a certain type of person I want to date, and it wasn't like I wouldn't be able to pay. I just wanted to know if he was willing to pay. So for the most part, he pretty much paid for us, our dating expenses.
Yeah. Well, in my dating experience, I always offer to pay half. And I want to say 90% of the time, they're like, no, I got this. And if I'm dating, if I've gone on more than like 5 dates with somebody, then I'll start alternating. Like, no, let me pick up the tab. I'll pay this time, you pay next time. Because I feel like it starts to get really expensive, especially if you're like dating a lot, right?
Yes.
I once went on a date with somebody where I bought him a beer, like I bought our beers. And then he admitted to me, and there was the date was fine. Great guy. He admitted to me, he's like, when you paid for the beers, I thought that you didn't like me. Because you wanted to just pay for it and then be done with it.
Like, in other words, you didn't want me to owe you anything.
That I wasn't interested. I was like, oh, no, not at all. I just, felt like paying for the beer. Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Well, interesting enough, I do know of somebody who told me of her experience where she was dating someone and she finally, I think, came to the conclusion this was not the person that, she wanted to continue to date. And he ended up giving her a bill.
Oh, what?
A bill.
Like he invoiced her?
Yes.
Oh, dang.
Yes. Like he invoiced her. And she was just like, we were like, are you kidding me? And she's like, yeah. She goes, but you know what? I just paid him. And it was clear to her that is the reason why I probably, I count myself lucky.
Yeah.
She dodged the bullet.
Yeah, exactly. Can you believe that? So, I mean, in some instances, I don't know if that was just him being petty or what, but it happens.
How about after date, walking the girl to her car if you guys drove separately? Will you always walk her to her car?
Or is that something that, again, maybe never thought of?
That's never happened to me because we didn't get our licenses until like after we broke up.
Yeah.
So I never really thought of that. But even when we hang out as friends now, I do walk her to her car and I just like wait until like her engine like warms up and this and that.
And then
Yeah, then I FaceTime her before she like drives home.
How about you,
so
Isaiah?
Yeah, that's never happened to me either. My girlfriend doesn't have a car, so I'll drive her everywhere.
I went on a date once in downtown San Jose, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It was at nighttime. I mentioned to him, I said, I parked kind of far. And when we left the date, he was like, you're good, right?
Oh
my God. It's
downtown.
horrible. I just was like, you're not getting a second date. And he texted me. And usually the guys are like, text me when you get home. He didn't ask me to. Just to make sure I made it home safely. And then he texted me the next day and was like, oh, like I really liked you. Is there a second date? I said, hell fucking no. Like it's the bare minimum, right? Just
Right.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Do you guys feel like, okay, so in hearing both of your experience, you guys are pretty aligned in regards to chivalry. Do you feel like, obviously with other people, like that is also common, or actually it's probably not as common as we all think it is? Or should be?
That's hard, actually. I think it really depends. Like when I think of my friends and like other people in school, there's definitely like types that are trying to be as chivalrous as possible, but there's also people who just don't care.
And do you think it's them not caring or them not knowing?
Good question.
Right?
Maybe a mixture of both.
Yeah.
Probably a mixture of both. Yeah.
But well, here's the thing: the not knowing is obviously, you can learn.
Right.
But the not caring, what would be some reasons why somebody wouldn't care to be chivalrous?
I feel like some men just really think like she could do it on her own. She has arms and legs. Like she can open the door herself, right?
Like just very systematic, logical.
And they don't see that at home. Maybe it's nothing that they've picked up and they're just really clueless. Oh, that's just my take on it. How about you guys?
I agree with that. I feel like they're like, oh yeah, you're independent, you got this, like you just do your thing. But I also think that it might be with like how like a lot of things are portrayed around them, like not just like at home but like with friends and stuff. There's like a whole like culture that calls like women like B's and H's, so it's like maybe some people don't really value women as much and they just see them as something else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna say. Like they're not dating like to date a woman.
Yeah.
They're like just dating for sex or I don't know, something
they're
else.
more of like looking for a sneaky link or like something like that. Yeah.
What's a sneaky link?
It's more
For those who don't know. For our older listeners.
I mean, it's like
a booty call kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I also think I don't know, maybe sneaky link could also be with cheating too. I'm not sure, but that's all I know.
So bottom line consensus, chivalry, is it dead, dying, or alive? I'll go with you, Debbie.
I think it's alive.
Isaiah?
I think it's alive.
Clayton?
I think there's like some parts where it's like dying.
I
but
think it's dying.
yeah.
Oh,
I think, the more and more we get into like this generation, and it's fine to the women out there that want to do their own thing, super hyper independent. That's totally fine. Oh, I have another story. I had, one date told me that he went on this date where, at first in the beginning of the date, she like shook his hand. Mm-hmm. Which is weird. I always go for a hug. I don't know. I just always go for a hug. And at the end, he was like, she was fine. Date went fine. I went in and gave her a hug at the end, and she was like, "You didn't ask me."
Oh.
Like, what do you guys think about that?
I think some people have like, their own comfort zone with like touch. And I feel like a lot of things like consent, like that are like being taught around us. I feel like a lot more people are like asking to hug now to like, or just like instead of spontaneous hugs.
I think, he obviously did not give her a second date. He was like, what the hell? What do you think about that?
I don't know. This is just like, it's too much for me.
It's a hug.
It's
like
too
he
much
wasn't
for me.
trying to go in for a kiss.
No, and I mean, yeah.
And he
I
thought
just-
the date went fine.
Yeah, unless she got creepy vibes. I don't know.
I don't think he was. I don't know.
Uh,
How about you, Isaiah?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
We grew up where like you have to ask for consent for
Yeah.
even a hug.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we're just old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember once I like gave a girl a hug at the end of like this like big show that we did. And the night later, she texted me. She was like, "Hey, Clayton, I felt really uncomfortable with the way that you hugged me." And I was like, "Oh, I thought we were like all group hugging."
Well, I mean, we have friends who have sons who are super like fearful because of this particular environment that we're in. You have to be super uber aware that some, like whatever you can do can potentially be misconstrued,
Yeah.
right? Negatively. So Isaiah, I can see your point where now, because of our environment, that's kind of a norm of like asking permission.
Yeah.
Where in our generation, it was just kind of like a little bit less informal about it.
Yeah. And I also think it could be like a culture thing too. Like, I'm Filipino, like we always just hugged everybody. Like
Right,
it's like our hello, right? Is it the same for like your culture as well? Or
Yeah, we do like a lot of the touchy stuff too.
Europeans will just kiss you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both cheeks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some Vietnamese people do that too. Like even random strangers, like
Yeah.
the elderly would like. It's not like a sniff, like it's not like a kiss, but it's like more of like a sniff.
Yeah.
Like they do that whole,
Yeah,
like-
we do that too.
Yeah, they like put their nose on you. They do like a whole suction cup thing.
All right. Well, thank you guys, Isaiah and Clayton, for coming on. Clayton, ladies, he's single. So, your IG handle, and he's very chivalrous. Isaiah, unfortunately, is not. But I mean, you guys were raised very well.
Yes.
I'm very impressed by your, knowledge, and just keep it going, keep it alive, guys.
Keep
The
it alive.
generation.
Yes, I love it.
It's
to
very
stay alive.
refreshing.
It is.
Yeah.
And to hear it from a younger generation that you guys do apply it and live it, great.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.